Welcome back to the Sibyl podcast. If this is your first time, pull up a chair and stay a while. Now, if you've been rocking with us, you already know how we do things around here. So, this season, we're sitting with something that has been on my heart for a while now. Marriages are falling apart quietly all around us, and I mean quietly, not always with shouting matches or the dramatic exits like you see on Instagram. Sometimes it's just two people who've stopped trying, sleeping in the same bed, living in completely different worlds. We've been watching this happen across cultures, across faiths, across generations, and honestly, we couldn't stay quiet about it anymore. So, we're starting something new. We're calling it Marriage, Divorce, and Everything Between. A candid look at love in all its stages, before, during, and after. Now, over the next few weeks, we're having the kind of conversations most people only have behind closed doors. Like what actually happens when a husband and wife quietly give up on each other? Why hasn't faith alone been enough to hold so many Christian marriages together? And how does a marriage make it past 50 years and still feel alive? And what does real healing look like after divorce? The kind that doesn't come with a neat little bow. Some of these episodes will be hard to sit with. I can understand that. Some might even shift how you see your own relationship. And a few might make you laugh in that way that only happens when someone says exactly what you've been thinking. Oh, and we have questions from some of you in this episode too, so thank you. You asked, our guest answered. So yes, you are a part of this conversation. So whether you're single, dating, engaged, married, separated, or somewhere in between that you don't quite have a name for yet, this series is for you. My siblings, get your tea ready, and now enjoy the show. Let's talk. Before we get into this episode, I need to be upfront with you about something. This recording had a technical failure. In my 8 years, 9 seasons of doing podcasting, I have never had this happen, and it took a while to just figure out what exactly was going on. Sadly, it took this happening twice, which we'll talk about in that other episode when we have to recreate this magic. Our AI note taker dropped out of the session near the 1 hour mark of our conversation with today's guest, and it took the last portion of our recording with it when it left. Now, at the time of this recreation, this is the second time this has happened to us, and I want to be very honest. It's frustrating. It's not okay, and we're fixing it. Because we know how valuable time is, especially when we have guests. It was not possible to bring guests back to try to recreate something that was good the first time. So what you hear in this episode is everything that was captured before the failure. Luckily, and I use that word loosely, we had the transcript. The conversation is rich, it's full, and our guest brought everything she had to this space. The topic, intimacy, sex, and what happens to marriages when that room goes quiet. It deserved a complete recording, and she deserved that, you deserve that. So we're sharing what we have because what she gave us is too good to hold back, and we're working behind the scenes to make sure a technical failure never costs us a conversation like this once again. Now, thank you for your grace. Now, let's get into it. And not as a way to be retaliatory, but I had my assistant who introduced us to the guest, but also it was her AI note taker who fumbled. She'll be the one playing the role of today's guest. And it's such a huge role for her to fill, but I know she'll do well. So let's get into it. Ife, are you ready?
Yes, and I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. So I'll do the intro. All right. Okay, welcome to the podcast. For those who are joining us for the first time, well, welcome. Today's topic is, you're in for a treat. So there's a room in most marriages that nobody talks about. I mean, not in the way we want to talk about it, right? We're not talking about the kitchen where arguments happen. We're talking about, where everything looks fine. We're talking about the other room, the one that started full of something and somewhere along the line went quiet. Yes, today we're going into that room. My guest today is a co-lead pastor of Citizens of Church in Ilorin. She's a prophet, a teacher, a founder of a mentoring school, authors of several books, and a woman who has spent over a decade helping people move from where they are to where they ought to be. But she's here today because of her newest book, Undressing Sex. And if that title makes you sit up a little straighter, good. That's exactly the point. We're going to talk about what happens to intimacy inside your marriage when life gets heavy and nobody says anything. We're going to talk about what God actually says about sex, not the sanitized version, the real one. We are going to talk about what couples that still love each other but haven't touched each other in a while and don't know how they got there. And yes, we're going to talk about whether sexual disconnection is quietly sitting at the root of divorces that nobody saw coming. Now, the church has been tiptoeing around this topic for a long time. We're done tiptoeing. So if you're married, this is for you. If you're thinking about marriage, this is especially for you. If you're sitting somewhere right now feeling unseen by the person who sleeps beside you, this is for you. We have questions also straight from our listeners woven into this episode. And let me just say, you all did not come to play. The questions are real. And today's guest is going to handle every one of them. This is a Sibyl podcast. And let's get into it. But first, please join me in welcoming Pastor Temi Areo to the podcast. Hello, ma.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I guess my very first question will be this. Why sex, Let's just throw that in before I ask you about your background.
Okay, so why sex? I think I've been pastoring for close to 2 decades now. And when I wrote the citation at one point, that was over a decade, probably 2 decades short. I've been pastoring a lot of married couples, and also I've been married for a while. I came to the conclusion that there are majorly 3 trouble spots in marriage, 3 major things that causes the most issues that go on in a marriage, and they have their foundation in either of these 3 things. The first is sex. The next one is money, and the third one is in-laws.
Oh, in-laws?
Yeah.
Wow. I imagine you're from this neck of our wood, like culturally, right?
Yes, exactly. And the ability to handle them. So I have a lot of couples come around and they say a lot of things. She looked at me this way, they looked at me that way. She's not doing this, she's not doing that. She's this, she's that. She's not booking. They say a lot of things. And the Spirit of God just ministered to me. Ask them about their sexual life. And I just have stated, and sometimes they don't even know that that's where the problem is stemming from. Sometimes they know they are angry, but they don't want to say that. About the fact that that's where everything starts from. So it's so important. It's really important.
Okay. Thank you for starting with that. I know it's so important that I just went into it. I didn't even do the background question. So once again, we're glad to have you here. Now, you've been doing this for 2 decades. Congrats on all of that, by the way. But I'm curious to know, who are you beyond those titles?
Okay, so who am I? I'm a lover of God. If I wasn't a pastor, I would have still been a Christian. So first and foremost, I'm a Christian, someone who loves God, who loves people, who loves to do whatever God wants me to do. I think before I fell in love with anything, I fell in love with God. And I think I would have just made a fine Christian if the title wasn't there. So who am I? I'm a child of God. I love God. I'm a wife. I'm a mother of 3. I'm a lover of God. I'm just someone who loves people and who wants to ensure that they are walking in the will of God, in the plans of God, the purposes of God, and they fulfill purpose. Yeah, that's who I am.
Wow. Well, we're glad to have you. All right, let's just go right into the other question. So across cultures and continents, one of the most constant findings in relationship research is that couples who report such satisfying sexual intimacy also report higher levels of overall relationship satisfaction. So whether they define consistency with sex, it helps to make their relationship function better. They communicate better. They also feel connected better. But yet, we see that sexual dissatisfaction in marriage is one of the most underreported issues that are addressed in couples therapy. And you actually alluded to that earlier on. Why do you think that is? Why does the silence, what does that silence cost the marriage in the long run?
Okay, so the silence of when you're not satisfied, right?
Yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, I think it is, and that's one of the things that prompted me to write this book and also grant interviews and talk about it, because before I wrote my book, I've actually had some teachings about sex. I've had somewhere I thought about it before I decided to write the book. The thing about it is a lot of people have sexual issues. A lot of people are discontented. They are unsatisfied on their sexual bed, and they are not talking about it. I think one of the reasons for that will be the way society is. because of the way society is, especially when I say society now, I mean Nigeria. Because in more developed countries, there's so much I can talk about. More developed countries, they see sex as something that they can talk about. They are more open and free when they talk about sex. But for us, we don't talk about sex, especially the woman. And the reason is clear. There is a way the culture has been that when you talk about sex, if a woman talks about sex, for example, and tells her husband that, or tells somebody that, oh, I love sex, I want sex, they're going to look at you like they are loose.
Freaky, yeah.
There's just the way they look at you like, oh, you're loose. And because of that, a lot of women have closed up, they've bottled up. It's so unfortunate that even in sex, in the sexual relationship that they have between husband and wife, in Nigeria especially, and maybe some other African countries, the wife cannot even tell the husband that they are satisfied. I love this, I want you to do this to me, and all of that, because of the way society is. And because of that, permit me to use the word that a lot of people suffer in silence. They don't get to talk about it. They don't get to get the help, the needed help, that they can get. Probably they're just silent. And I think society, the way society is, and unfortunately the church, yes, the church has also aided this unholy conversation, which is not so. There's nowhere in the Bible, in fact, there is a whole chapter in the Bible that is dedicated to talking about these things, marriage, and they spoke about sex. And I don't think that I think that it's not right for the church to be silent about it. So I think the reason that is because the society doesn't support people talking about it and sharing their concerns about it and getting more light and more knowledge. The society is quiet about it, as if the society is ashamed of talking about it, and the church too is quiet about it. I think that's the reason why people are quiet about it.
Oh, wow. Thanks for sharing that. Now, there's some issues that I've observed, so people get married, right? The first season is full of something, and then slowly, without any single dramatic moment, like nobody planned it, nobody announced it, it just happened. Why does that desire shift inside a committed relationship? And is it just inevitable that people are doomed to drift apart over time?
Okay, so let me say this, and this is very important for everybody that to know. And this is so important for everybody to know. When it comes to marriage, when it comes to sex, when it comes to relationships, any relationship, it is like fire. And it is in the nature of, it is natural for fire that the spark in any relationship, the spark in any sexual relationship. And when I say sexual relationship, I'm talking about in the context of marriage. Now, the spark in any of these is that it has the natural tendency to die. So what do we do about it? If you want to keep the fire burning, you have to be intentional about it. You need to put in the wood. You need to put in the wood, and you need to intentionally keep fanning it to flame. So if you want to keep the wedding bed burning, if you want to keep the relationship in your marriage burning, if you want to keep it ablaze, if you want to keep it, the way it's supposed to be, then you have to be intentional about it. Marriage is one place, one thing that you can live. One thing that you can live is the relationship, marriage. You can't live without. That things will just keep going the way they are. No, you have to be intentional about it. You have to be intentional about putting in the wood. And you have to be intentional about fanning it to flame. And so is sex. The sex is the dessert when you get married. There's this giz. And we can't just help but touch each other. When you first get married, you just find that, some years into the marriage, you don't feel that way. It's not like the love is dead and all that. It's just natural. It's the natural nature of fire that it burns to die. Those things those things are beginning to die, they are beginning to dwindle, they are beginning to wane, and all of that. It's time to put in fresh coals, fresh wood. And I don't know if you want me to talk about some of the wood that you can put into your marriage.
I think we can talk about that for sure, but I also think there's this double whammy in the sense of when you're mad at your spouse, right? For most people, sex is like the last thing you want to do. But then you find out that it might actually be the one thing that can help to spark it up again. But then at that moment, you're just like, don't even breathe near me, you know? So yeah, maybe we can talk about some of the coals and how to reignite it, yeah?
Okay, so yes, the coal isn't about when you're married with your spouse, you don't want to touch your spouse, or you don't want your spouse to touch you. But the thing about it is that the best way to make up after a fight is sex. Yeah, that's the best way you can actually make up. And that's really those that really understand how to play the game, okay, is one way to say sorry. The action makeup call is one way to make up. So let's talk about the coals now. Some of the things that we can put into your marriage that is struggling, that can keep the fire burning.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of those things that you can do. Okay. One of the woods that you can put, I found out, is that when it seems that your sex is waning and your desire for sex is waning in your marriage, one of the things you can do is a vacation. A vacation. I always push for vacation, and when I teach on sex, I call it expensive sex.
Okay. What does that mean?
Yeah, so why I call it expensive sex is that you have to leave your bedroom, you have to leave your house, you have to go to an hotel, for example. You have to pay money just to have sex with each other, and it's costing you something, in the long run, but it's helping your marriage. So sometimes you go for a vacation, you have your house, you have everything in your house, but then you travel out. You go somewhere for vacation, maybe the Maldives, and you rekindle the love that when you were just far away, when you're far away from the hustle and the bustle, you are far away from the demands, you take time off work, all the demand, you are far away from your kids, and you put your kids somewhere with somebody that that you can trust, and then you just enjoy yourselves together. You enjoy the bed together. You find out that when you come back, that does something to you. It does something to you. Looking into each other's eyes in those kinds of places reminds you why you fell in love. I mean, it reminds you exactly of why actually you decided to go on this journey with this person. Why this person, and it helps you ignite the fire and fan the fire to flame. So one of the woods that you can use is vacation. And even if you don't have the money to travel somewhere, all of that, sometimes you just want to leave the house. I always say this to people: even if it's a great house or something, just leave the house, go somewhere, at least go visiting, go somewhere different, somewhere fun, somewhere where the demands of life is not so much. Oh, I have to work, or I have to attend to the kids, I have to do this, I have to do that. Just go somewhere with your spouse and relax with your spouse, and then have sex that's in that kind of atmosphere. And you'll find out that that's part of the wood you can put into your marriage, and this especially works for women. It's still a part for it. It's another wood that you can do is you can buy gifts for her, take her on a date. And why am I saying this? For women especially, sex doesn't begin in the bedroom.
Right.
It doesn't start in the bedroom. Yeah. So sex doesn't start in the bedroom for women. Sex starts when you it starts from that morning or maybe a few days before that day. I mean, you because women are very emotional, and you need to stir up those emotions in your direction. And I'm talking to the men here. That's when you get the best for her. You start doing intentional things for her. Maybe you join her in the kitchen, buy a gift. Maybe you send her a love message. You go out to get flowers. You call her. You say something sweet to her. You help her do something, whatever love language is. If it's quality time, just be with her, and then sex now happens. So those are some of the woods that you can put into it. Really, those are some of the woods that you can put into your marriage. But if you don't do these things, if you just leave it as it is and keep the marriage going, the marriage keeps going, but you're not putting any wood into it, eventually you will begin to drift apart. The desire will begin to wane. So
basically,
yes,
put your mouth where your money is and invest in one another.
Yes, exactly.
And I think on the flip side, knowing that for women, sex occurs before you enter the bedroom, right? So again, it's knowing that you have to put in a lot of work for the women, and also knowing what each other's love language is, right? So close to find the fire back. Okay, I want to choose this question a little bit. I think there's a dynamic that doesn't get named enough when sex is being used as a currency inside the marriage, right? So whenever there's a fight, instead of having like dialogue to sort it out, right, using sex as a way to avoid real conversations, like physical intimacy becomes the way you smooth over conflict without resolving anything underneath it. Do you think that's a good approach, or does that chip away the utility or the importance of sex in any way?
Okay. So I believe when there is a fight, when there is a misunderstanding, I believe one way in which you can settle that is to get intimate. But that's not to say that's the only thing you have to do. I am getting intimate before you can talk about it, or after you talk about it, but you still need to talk about it. Sometimes getting intimate before you talk about the real issue is like pouring cold water and then stepping on it. So, it has died down, and then you can now speak about it, So it makes the atmosphere more conducive. So it softens the person's heart, and it softens your partner's heart, and it makes it tender before you talk about what has happened. But then you can't keep having sex without dealing with your issues. And that sex will never, it can never, I always say this, that sex will never and can never take the place of communication in a marriage. Yes, they are two different things entirely, and they are both important in their place. Sex has its place in marriage, communication has its own place in marriage, and one can take the place out of other. So why am I saying that? When there is a conflict, I believe that sex is a binding agent. So when there is a conflict, the purpose of every conflict is to tear you apart. But one of the things that sex will do is so spiritual, that sex is a binding agent. When you think of a binding agent, you think about something like super glue. You think about something like force stick. A force stick, you think of something that may be a stapler that binds you two together. Sex is a binding agent in marriage. It binds you together. It binds you to your spouse. So when that conflict is trying to tear you apart, no matter when you put yourself together first, sexual intimacy, it brings both of you together. So now communication comes in. What happened? So now you are no longer angry. You are no longer tense. The anger has gone down. The tension has gone down. You can now listen. You can talk about it. You are not angry with each other anymore. It's you are now on the same page. You are loving each other. You have just expressed that love to each other in the bedroom. So now you can talk about it. What is the issue? And then you can really talk to your partner. Your partner will have a listening ear now, to talk about it. It makes it easier to resolve the issue. So I don't believe we should just have sex and not talk about issues. I don't think sex can take the place of communication, but I also believe that sex is very, very important, especially when there is a conflict, because it's a binding agent. It helps bind you together.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, this was good. I liked how you talked about sex and communication. Like, they have their distinct role. And while sex is important, you shouldn't use it as a cop-out to avoid dealing with the real issues, yeah? And because it's a sex is a form of communication too, and how you use it and how you also view it matters. Okay. Now, earlier on, you were talking about, making a contrast between Nigeria, for example, and a lot of countries in the West, right? For example, in the US, sex is almost like a flippant issue. But growing up in Nigeria, that's another situation. We, in countries like Nigeria, the way we live, shaped by culture, religion, and of course, family. And sex is either treated as something that was dirty or dangerous. And consequently, desire is something that was supposed to be suppressed rather than understood. If someone handed you a Bible, today and said, show me what God actually says about sex and marriage, what would you say?
Okay, yeah. So as a couple, I think one of the things I would do is take you straight to the famous 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Yeah, I will just take you straight to that. And of course, from verse 1 talks about how it's not good for a man to touch a woman, talking about avoiding fornication and all of that. But then it says, nevertheless, to avoid communication, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and every woman have her own husband. Let her husband render unto the wife due benevolence, talking about sex, and likewise also the wife unto her husband. The wife has no power over her own body but the husband, and likewise also the husband has no power over his own body but the wife. And verse 4 now goes into talking about defrauding the unit as one. That you may give except you. Verse 4 now goes to talking about not defrauding the sex as one, except it be with consent for a time, that you may give yourself to fasting and prayer and come together again. That talks about the importance of sex. And one of the beautiful things about this for me is that it is written by Apostle Paul, who was not even married, but by the Spirit of God. But by the Spirit of God, he understood the importance of sex in marriage. He wasn't married himself, but that didn't, he wasn't talking by experience. He was talking by revelation. This is God communicating these things to him to write for the couple, to the married couple, and all of that. And he showed us the importance of sex in marriage, especially in that verse 5. He says you should not defraud, one another. That means do not weaponize sex. Do not say no to sex. When you say no to your partner, it means that you say no to, it means that you are defrauding. And I like that word defraud. It means you're stealing something from your partner, because sex is your partner's right. It's your partner's right under God. And I like the way he spoke about it, not saying no to your partner. And the way you also put it there, that even if you have to give yourself over to fasting, the way you also put it there, that even if you have to go give yourself over to fasting and prayer for a while, make sure you come back, because I've used that to preach a lot of times, that you have to make sure you come back together. So he's trying to tell you that God does not expect you to stay apart from your partner sexually for a long time. It's just supposed to be for a short period of time. So he said in that context that, okay, when you are praying and fasting, it can take you apart for a bit, but he's saying that you shouldn't be apart for a long time. So that means that whatever it is, whatever any other thing, nothing is supposed to take you apart from each other for a while. So I think I'll go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and show them what the Bible says.
Wow, that's quite a very robust response. And I want to say something to our listeners. I know the use of sex with your partner's right might rub off the wrong way for some people that are not Christians, and that's okay. I'm bringing this is a pastor and that was brought on the podcast. So that's the expectations that they want to speak to a particular audience. So if the words like partners' rights rubs it the wrong, we understand that, right? Maybe that message is not for you. That's okay, but we still hope that you take something out of it And I also think that so I just wanted to put that there, but please continue.
Yes, ma. So it's not just in the Bible, actually. The funny thing is, it's even in law. They will tell you that once you are married, if you don't have sex, if you don't consummate the marriage, then you are not married yet. It's in the law that sex is you have to have sex to make it a covenant. And it's one of the things that establishes, that covenant is sex. The covenant of marriage is sex. And it's not sexist, I don't want you to think that, she's saying that, sex is your right, or it's as much as your right as it's your spouse's right. I'm going to read that part for a minute.
Okay, sure.
I have to show you that it's not just me that is saying this, but the Bible also says this in 1 Corinthians.
Okay.
Chapter 7, and the Bible says that so my body, it says that the wife has no power over her own body but the husband, and the husband has no power over his body than the wife. So my body doesn't really belong to me as it is. It belongs to my husband, and my husband has 100% right over my body to use my body for his sexual satisfaction. And the Bible does not stop there. It says, but the husband, and likewise also the husband, has no power over his own body but the wife. So my husband's body too, is for you. So the purpose of sex is not about you. It's about serving the needs of the other person. And I think that there is no selfishness in this. If I'm thinking about you and you are thinking about me, then we are both going to be fine. On the even on the wedding bed, all I'm thinking about is you, how to satisfy you, how to please you. And the same way you are doing that for me. Selfishness comes in when one party is not doing that. So if you are also thinking about me and how to satisfy me and how to pleasure me, then at the end of the day, we are both pleasured, and we are both, we both have a fantastic time. So it's not something that should rub off badly. It's for our own good, for maximum structure in the marriage.
Oh wow, yeah. And the Bible, like we know, is complete, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. I asked this question earlier on, but I think I want to ask it in a more complete way. So this question is for every person sitting somewhere right now who genuinely wants their spouse again. They want to feel that connection again, but resentment has gotten in the way. Now, not indifference, no falling out of love, specifically resentment. Maybe due to betrayal, maybe due to one person stepping out of the marriage, like infidelity, or maybe years of just feeling unseen, maybe the way the body just shuts down quietly one day and just never comes back. And it's not uncommon in marriage. How do they begin to stir that desire again, Pastor Temi?
Okay. So, how do you begin to stir up the desire? Well, first off, I think one of the things you have to do is first understand: is this happening to you alone, or is it happening to you and your spouse? Because they are two different things. If it's happening to you alone, you can speak to your spouse about it, and then let your spouse know. Because there is no marriage without communication. I can't overemphasize the role that communication plays in marriage and keeping marriage together and keeping things together. So if I'm feeling out of love with my partner, I need to talk to my partner about it and say, because he needs to help me, he really needs to help me figure out why I'm feeling this way. I don't feel like this. I don't feel like this. I don't feel like this and all of that. And then we talk about it. We also need to see things. Things don't just happen. Even when you think about the body shutting down quietly, or these things don't just happen. Some way, something, somehow, some way, something is responsible, and maybe you didn't think that it could be the reason, or maybe there is something that the person did in the past to hurt you that you never talked about, that you just swept under the carpet or something, or maybe there's an unmet expectation in the marriage, or just something. There has to be something that is causing you to drift. There must be something that is shutting you down. That is, so you really want to trace it and talk about it. Okay, when did this start? There are some questions you need to ask yourself and ask each other. When did this start? When did I start feeling this way? So what was the thing that started happening? I've spoken to a lot of people and I've helped them, ask them some of these questions and help them to discover what that problem could be. When did this thing start? And sometimes it could just be, I was talking to someone one day and the person, we discovered that, okay, the husband wasn't standing up for her,
Right.
before his people, before his family.
Right.
And it was getting to her, so it could be something, but we just need to trace what is happening. When did these things happen? When did it start happening? There must be something that started it. And we need to trace it. When did it happen? So, yeah, when you got married, you were feeling all the butterflies. The butterflies were all there. So at what point did it begin to feel cold? At what point did you begin to feel like this? So you trace it and you talk about it. If it is a one-party thing, you ask your spouse and you trace it. So when you can find it and all, you have your spouse who is very involved, who is very ready, who wants you back, who wants you to be at your best in your marriage, and he wants you to function optimally in the marriage, loving him, or loving how he's concerned. Then both of you will trace it together and your spouse will help you and can help you get it back. So sometimes helping you might start with apologizing. Sometimes helping you might start with being intentional about the things that need change, that need intentional change, intentionally changing, putting in the work to be different, to be better. It might just make that difference and all that. So you have to find out what it is. But in a case when it's both of you, I'm not feeling that marriage and you're not feeling the marriage again, and your spouse too is not feeling the marriage again, then both of you are not feeling the marriage again. I think you most likely have lost friendship, because friendship is one of the most important parts of marriage. Right. That people don't know how important it is. You see, friendship is what keeps you going. It's friendship in marriage that is so resilient that even when everything else is fading, we are still friends. It keeps everything together. Even when every other thing is, fleeting. So when you say you want to think about it, the thing is, when you talk about it, you both agree that you are on the same page. You have not yet given up on the marriage. You're on the page of, okay, we want to work it out. When you're on that positive page of you want to work it out, you want to get back to how we were before, then you begin intentionally building friendship. And one of the things I say, about building friendship, like I said, expensive sex. You need to go somewhere. One of the things that steals friendship is also the demands of life. Life has a way of life demands has a way of stealing friendship. So I have to be at work in the morning. I have to close at this time. I have to take care of the kids. I have to do this. I have to pay the bills. I have to. Other things calling for my attention. And before you know it, we are drifting apart. So first, you want to take some time out. And then after that, you want to try these things. You have to start these things mechanically. Sometimes you start mechanically, and then your feelings will catch up with it. You don't have to start with your feelings. You start with what you should do, and then your feelings will eventually catch up. Yeah. So you might. So what do friends do? Okay, you might go on a stroll, maybe in a cool evening. You might want to take a shower together, hold hands, even if you don't feel like doing it. Talk more, play board games together when the time is there, or look for a time. Maybe we'll go out together. And I would also like to have this. Add this. A pastor who understands has some level of understanding when marriage is concerned, you might want to talk to your pastor about it. You might want to talk to somebody, maybe a pastor or an intimacy coach. You might want to talk to somebody that can just get help and put you in. So once, but the thing is, once both of you want to work it out, you just have to get help. So there's a high likelihood that it will work. You'll be able to work it out. You'll be able to work it out. So yeah.
Wow. Thank you. I mean, this was really good. So we've talked about the calls, right? We've talked about the expensive sex, the fire. Now, for couples who are struggling with sexual intimacy, what is bringing God into the space actually look like? Like, what does that look like practically? Because for a lot of people, that sentence alone sounds strange or even contradictory, right? Again, especially if you grew up culturally where sex and talking about it as a Christian should feel dirty. So can you help us understand what that means in the real bedroom with real people who are really struggling? What does it look like to bring God into it?
Yeah, fantastic. I really like that. I want people to understand. A lot of people don't understand about sex when we talk about sex is that maybe we have just not really thought about it, right? So maybe you have not sat down to think deeply about it. That where does sex come from? And that's a funny thing. It's just something that somebody probably has not started to think about. But truly, who initiated sex? Is sex a child of science? Is it a child of philosophy? Is it a child of culture? Where did sex come from? And then the truth of the matter, for us as Christians, is that God initiated sex. So that itself is a game changer because, when I come to understand the fact that God initiated sex, it changed my perception, my perspective. It changed everything about, how I see sex and how I see God. So it makes me know that God initiated sex. It was his idea. In Genesis, in the book of Genesis, the first marriage that ever happened, the first marriage was God that initiated the marriage. How a man shall leave his father and his mother. It was God that conducted the marriage, in the Garden of Eden. God conducted the marriage and, the man shall cleave to his wife and the two shall become one flesh. God was talking about sex there, And, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. That's God joining them together. So God initiated marriage and everything. And it's God that said, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the other. And the means to being fruitful, the means for procreation. So in every way, it is God that said it's not good for man to be alone. It is him that made a companion in which, one of the ways companionship is brought about in a marriage is sex. So it was God's idea. It was God's initiative. And because it is God's idea, God knows the way to it. God understands it, It's like having and like my iPad now. And having an Apple device, and I have a problem with it, and I think that the manufacturers of Apple cannot help, don't know what I'm going through. They don't know how to deal with it. It's just like that, They made it so they understand everything. They understand the workability of it. So if I can get on through to them, to be with something, maybe I have an issue concerning my iPad, they will be the best people to give me advice on what to do and how to fix it. So that's how it is with God. God can fix your marital bed. He can fix your issues. God can, and I always say this, I found out that, I really don't believe, so let me put it like this. I believe it's part of sexual perversion, and I wrote it in my book, but that's not the question you're asking me, so I'll not talk so much about it. But I don't believe in having to watch pornography and all of that to get better, having great styles and coming up with great styles in the bedroom. I don't believe in boring sex, but I believe that the Spirit of God is the spirit of creativity, and I believe that one of the things that he can do for you is that he can teach you how to be creative in bed. how to be creative. So God is so involved in your sexual life. He wants he wants to be involved in your sexual life. He initiated it. This was his idea in the beginning. So if you're having problems with it, he wants to fix that problem. He wants to tell you what to do. He wants to help you. He wants to help you with navigating the path so you can enjoy the best of what he initiated, what he started. So you talk about the Holy Spirit, you can talk to the Holy Spirit, you can talk to God, to these little things. Personally, God, I don't feel up to it. I just say it in a prayer. God strengthen me. When I don't feel up to it, I just say it in a prayer. Lord God, strengthen me. And so because I believe in supernatural, in the supernatural, I just feel so strong, and I just feel so alive and agile and all of that, because there is a God who is not apart from my sexual life. Like I said, yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, this has really been good, and I have so many questions. But let's get into your new book, right? So we've been talking about the why, why sex as a subject matter deserves a seat at the table. And but I want to ask you this. You are a prophet, you're a pastor, you're a woman in visible public spiritual leadership in Nigeria, where what you say from a pulpit carries weight in ways that extends far beyond the church walls. And then you're choosing this subject of sex. You even put your name on a book called Undressing Sex. You've walked into the room. Most of your other pastor colleagues are still tiptoeing around. So before we get into this book, I want to ask you about that decision. We know God is the author of sex. You already mentioned that. You've given us, examples of why, that is true. He made it. It's not dirty. It's not shameful. It belongs to him. And yet, somehow, the church has managed to make people feel that he made it like they can't bring it to him. They can't bring sex to him. Now, as a prophet in Nigeria, and where this conversation carries particular cultural and spiritual weight, but then your reach is global. How did you navigate the tension between the subject matter, your platform, and the cultural sensitivities of the women who would read this book across different countries?
Okay, thank you for that question. The first thing I want to say is this, God made sex, and sex is not dirty because God made it, and he's not a dirty God. And long before I started teaching about sex, God worked on me first. He set me free. He has set me free, and now he's using me as an agent, and as an agent of freedom for other people, especially women. So I came to find out in God's word how interested God was in my marriage and in my wedding bed. I found out that sex is not a man's thing, and I wrote about that in my book. And permit me to digress a bit and talk a bit about that. Then before I come back. Yeah, so I found out a lot of women, especially in this part of the world, in Africa. Yes, a lot of in fact, those, in abroad, a lot of women abroad, in fact, those that are not even married, it's like water to them. They see sex as sports, and I began to ask the Lord, what is the problem? And the Holy Spirit told me exactly and traced something for me, which I spoke about in my book. The thing is, based on our culture, the culture that we have found ourselves in, it paints sex as a man's thing. So, for example, when a girl starts her period, the parents want to tell her that the first thing they want to tell her is that you can now get pregnant, so don't have sex,
Right.
And now they are saying it. They are not saying it for the purpose of chastity because it's what God wants. They are saying it for the purpose of don't bring shame to us. Good thing for you as a girl. So, when I was in secondary school, I had this friend. I used to go visit them in their house. I used to go visit them because I come from a dysfunctional home. So I like going to her house. She had a mom and a dad. Her home was perfect like that. So I used to go and watch. So with this, my friend, her mom was normal, cultural traditional. So when we were young, we talked she talked to us and about, okay, don't let boys touch you, don't let boys mess you up and everything. That if a boy is already sleeping with you with a girl, it's a thing of shame and all of that. It's a shameful thing. The girl does not have, all of that treatment. So she would tell us that, but then she would tell us all of that, okay, don't sleep with boys, don't let boys mess you up and all of that. But then she had older sons who would bring girls to the house and would go to the room and mommy won't say anything. So I began to understand that the shame thing was really targeted towards women. So maybe it's not even a Nigerian thing, maybe as far back as scriptures. Maybe as far back as scriptures, because you find out that the woman caught in adultery, where was the man? It's not like she committed adultery with herself. They didn't parade the man. It was just the woman that was paraded. She was caught in adultery, but you can't commit adultery with yourself.
Right.
You have to. There has to be an accomplice. There's somebody that you were committing with it, committing adultery with.
Yeah.
Yes, but it was only the woman that they brought for judgment. It was the woman that was supposed to be stoned. They didn't bring the man. And maybe it's not even a Nigerian thing, it's a cultural thing. Even as far back as Bible days, it was very patriarchal then. So the thing is, when the woman starts her period, if a woman is not supposed to do anything sexual, if they catch a 15-year-old girl and a 15-year-old boy having sex, they shout, they're going to shout and disgrace and embarrass, the 15-year-old girl and say, oh, she's a useless girl. Meanwhile, for the boy, it's his own fault.
Almost expected, yeah.
Yes, it's expected for him. So yes, for the boys, somewhere in their mind, they are feeling like, oh, he's a big boy. He went on a colder day. Even the reason for his genital mutilation, that was even the reason for genital mutilation. There was female circumcision. One of the reasons for female circumcision was for the man not to enjoy sex. So they chop up the clitoris, which is supposed to be the pleasure organ. So the idea is for you not to enjoy sex, for you not to love sex. But female circumcision, for those that do it, one of the cultural purposes of it is for you not to have sex better, for you, for men, basically. One of the purposes for circumcision for men is for you to enjoy sex better, and all of that. So they cut the penis and they make it pointed, they remove the foreskin and all of that, so penetration can be easier and all of that. And they say, now you're a man and all of that. So a lot of women carried it unconsciously into their marriage. That sex is one of the things, and it's one of the things that the Lord dealt with me with. If they like sex, if a woman likes sex, then there's a problem. So women don't want to, they don't want to say that they are enjoying sex, because if I tell my husband, if an average woman tells her husband that I want to have sex, or I love sex, I want sex, I'm loving it too much, it means that you are loose. So a lot of women have carried that too. And when it comes to the concept of orgasm, sort of focusing is you enjoying sex. You have to be vulnerable, because you can't get an orgasm. It doesn't have so much to do with your genitals. It has much more to do with your brain, with your mind, letting your mind loose. Right? And allowing your mind to go loose. That's it. So a lot of women found it difficult to be in that space. They can't tell their husbands, oh, I love it, I love sex and all. And so I've talked severally before, and I've said it openly, that I'm one woman who loves sex and loves to enjoy sex. And I don't say that, I don't feel somebody is looking at me anyhow, because I'm married. Yeah, because I'm married. My husband says it jokingly that if two married people are having sex and then a single person walks into the room, it's the single person that should feel embarrassed. Because there's I'm married, so I got to that point where I got liberated in my mind. I don't think it's my husband that should be asking for sex. I'm supposed to be playing, dare to get and all of those things. But it happens in a lot of marriages because you want to prove to your husband that you are not loose and all of that. And I think it's helpful to be able to tell my husband, oh, I'm missing you. I want you. I want to have sex with you. Can we make love and all of that? So yes, I found out that that's where the problem is, and that's where orgasm starts from. So I found out that culturally they have made it so difficult for a woman to enjoy sex. So
all right, I'm interrupting your flow once again, and I need you to pause here for a moment. What you just heard was a reconstruction. When our recording failed, I sat down with my assistant and follower and reviewed the first part of the conversation with Pastor Temi from the transcript. So what she did was she read Pastor Temi's words, and I responded as myself. Every word attributed to Pastor Temi came directly from what Pastor Temi actually said. We did not invent anything, but the voice you heard was not Pastor Temi's. Now, this part is, what you're about to hear right now is Pastor Temi's actual voice, her actual words recorded live. This is the real her, and I want you to feel that shift because there's something different about hearing someone's voice, carry their own truth. We did what we had to do to honor the fullness of this conversation, but we also want you to know exactly what you're listening to and when. So take a deep breath and let's welcome Pastor Temi in her voice back into the room. And I'm going to get out of this space. Thank you for your understanding, everyone. Yes, please go on. Please go on. Thank you. Yeah. You were saying for the boy. For the boy.
For the boy is props. Somehow for the boy, somewhere in their mind, they are feeling like, oh, he's a big boy. And it went on culturally to even the reason for genital mutilation, that's female circumcision. Female circumcision, one of the reasons for female circumcision was for the woman not to enjoy sex. They chop off the clitoris, which is supposed to be the sexual organ, the pleasure organ. So the idea is for you not to enjoy sex, for you not to love sex. But female circumcision, for those that do it, one of the cultural purposes of it is for you to have sex better, for you to enjoy your sex better, and all that. They cut the penis and make it pointed and remove the foreskin and all that. Oh, so penetration can be easier and all that. And they say now you're now a man and all that. So a lot of women, carried that thing and unconsciously carried it into marriage. So a lot of women in marriage feel that if they like sex, it's one of the things the Lord dealt with me with. If they like sex, there's a problem. So women don't want to say, or they don't want to accept that they are enjoying sex. If I tell my husband, if an average woman feels, if I tell my husband I want to have sex, or I love sex, or I want sex, or I'm loving it too much, it means you are loose. So a lot of women carried that too. And when it comes to the concept of orgasm, the concept of orgasm is you enjoying sex, you must be vulnerable, because for you to get an orgasm, it doesn't have so much to do with your genitals. It has much more to do with your brain, with your mind. Letting your mind loose. Letting your mind loose anyhow. Allowing your mind loose. That's it. So a lot of women found it difficult to be in that space. When they can tell their husbands, oh, I love it. I love sex and all. So I've taught severally before, and I've said it openly that, oh, I'm one woman who loves sex and who loves to enjoy sex. And I don't saying that, I don't feel somebody's looking at me anyhow. I know I'm married. Like my husband says jokingly, that if two married people are having sex and the single person mistakenly comes to the room, that is the single person that should feel embarrassed.
Not the married
Not the married people. I know that because it's there.
Yeah.
So I got to that point where I got liberated in my mind. I got like, I don't think it's my husband that should be asking me for sex, and I'm supposed to be playing the hard to get, all those things that happen in a lot of marriages because you want to prove to your husband that you are not loose and all that. I think it's helpful to be able to tell my husband, I'm missing you. I want you. I want to have sex with you. Can we make love and all that? So yes. So I found out, and that's where orgasm starts from. So I found out that, yes, that culturally they've made it so difficult for women to enjoy sex. So please, what was my question? I know this is my digression.
No, we're talking about your book. And I think
my
lesson,
book.
Yes.
So how did I get there?
Yes.
So when God liberated me and helped me to see how and the outcome of that liberation was that I could talk about sex. My husband would always say that, when it comes to my wife, anybody that has any sexual issue in counseling, say, please go meet Pastor Temi. Pastor Temi, she will not hide anything. She will just see everything for her. So, and it was coming from, I was not always like that. It came from that revelation I had with God, where I came to understand that sex is not a man's thing. Sex it was not made for male man. It was made for male and female man. It was made for, is your right, is your exclusive right in marriage. Is one of the things, marriage is so beautiful. God put everything in it for you to enjoy. Is one of the things God put in marriage for me to enjoy, and I should be able to enjoy. So it affected the way I spoke about it. It affected, I could talk about sex without fear, without shame, because there's nothing shameful about it. I could teach it, I would explain it. So I started from there. My husband saw that boldness and put me in charge. Then made me write the first thing I wrote about sex was the counseling manual for the church. Made me write the counseling manual that all the branches use. So I wrote the counsel. Then I started taking counseling. They would say that people used to look forward to my class. Sex class is 3 hours. And you're like, what are we saying? Yes. They would say, what sex class? I would teach you for 3 hours. I would, not leave anything unturned and all that. And so from there, I decided to, make it come out of the walls of CLC alone, Citizens of Light Church. And then I decided to be a blessing to the world. And then I wrote Undressing Sex, because I want people to be liberated, to know that sex is a beautiful thing. Sex is a beautiful thing, and there's nothing to be ashamed about. We should be able to have sexual conversations, even if we have to teach it in church, and not feel like we are saying something dirty or unholy. The perversion in sex only comes when you use it when you are not in the wrong light, when you are not married, or when you are married. I mean, 3 couples should be able to sit down and have sexual conversations, and laugh and all that. So that's what butted on Undressing Sex. Yeah.
Thank you. You knocked out so many questions with that response you gave. I appreciate. I had 2 more questions about your book before we go into the questions from the listeners. One would be, is there anything in your new book, Undressing Sex, that surprised even you as you were writing it? Perhaps a truth that came out as you're writing that you weren't even expecting to say out loud?
Yes. So when I was writing Undressing Sex, there is a part of the book where I wrote about sexual perversion, sexual corruption and perversion. And, I started doing my research because I couldn't just write. Yes, I wrote a lot of things by inspiration. To the glory of God, I was inspired greatly, but there were some things I also had to write that I had to do some research on to make sure that I'm writing what is right and I'm not just assuming. So in studying a bit for that, man, that staggered me when I got to a place of sexual. I spoke about there's a part that speaks about sexual corruption and perversion, and then especially when got to the point of people having extreme sexual appetites. That staggered me. Some people need help. Really, some of them are things some people know about, the BDSM, the stuff and all that. And some people have some extreme sexual appetites. Some that I wrote about, some people can have sex if I'm not even talking about outside the context of marriage now. There are a lot of sexual perversion outside the context of marriage. There are a lot, like there's pedophiles and all that, and people that. But I'm talking about the one that happens in marriage, and a lot of people are going through stuff and keeping quiet about it. And sometimes there are some people that probably can't have sex with their partner except they are in pain. Okay, we know the BDSM one. There are some people that can't have sex with their partner except they rub poo on their body. Some people can't have. A lot of terrible things, and that's. Because I remember at some point in the book when I dealt with that chapter, I had to, ask people, those going through that, to call for prayers, and I had to pray for them. That part really, really shook me. That part really shook. The extreme
nature, sexual urges, appetite,
So that I think that was the part that's really
shook you.
Because going through, some people they don't get aroused until some extreme things are done. Things happen in marriage. They don't get aroused on this. And there are some people that, their libido is outrageous. You want to have sex almost every minute. The kind of libido nobody can keep up with. Some funny things. So just talking about that startled me a bit, but we came through with it.
Thank you for that. So what would be your next book? What would it be about? Would it still be about sex? If yes, you don't know yet.
I don't know yet.
Okay, all right.
But I know I'm going to
write some more.
Talk.
Of course. Yeah.
Right.
And we cannot wait to bring you back. Okay. Yeah. Now let's move on to the listener questions, right? You've actually mentioned two of the things that popped up in this question. So one of our anonymous listeners shared something I want to handle with care because I know she's probably not alone. She discovered from her teenage years that she had a naturally high libido. And when her family found out about it, it was demonized. She was shamed, she was shouted at, and that shame, that specific African family response that many women across the continent and diaspora recognize, translated into vaginismus, which is that involuntary, painful condition that makes penetration difficult or impossible. She says thinking about it feels fine, but her body shuts down when she tries. And her greatest fear is carrying this into marriage. What do you want her to know, and what would you tell her to do?
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Please go over it again.
Oh, sorry. So she discovered.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Help me understand it. I understand it to the point that she has a high libido, and then
her family found out, and then they shamed her, and that shame, she translated into vaginismus, which is a medical condition. Actually, it's an involuntary, painful condition that makes penetration difficult or impossible. Right.
Okay.
And
she did that to herself, or is it psychological or something?
So I think it's not like she did it to herself. It's really so it's a spasm of the pelvic floor muscles, right? And it's often driven by fear, anxiety, or past trauma.
Okay.
It's actually treatable, but it can, in her case, she links it to the shun and the shame and the shame that came from her family finding out about her high libido. It affected her. Exactly. Exactly.
I get it.
So my question for you now will be, what would you what do you want her to know, and what would you tell her to do?
Oh, okay. First of all, I want you to understand the fact that for every kind of woman, there is a man, and she's not married. That she's not married yet. She has a high libido. I first want her to get comfortable with that. She has a high libido. There's nothing wrong with having a high libido. There is nothing wrong. If you have a high libido, you don't even know if your husband is going to have a high libido too. There are times I've counseled a lot of couples, and maybe the husband has a very high libido and the wife has a very low libido. And sometimes I want to pray, amidst there's so many things I'm going to do to them and tell them and help them with. One of it is I also want to pray that God would heighten the woman's libido too, so that it can be a match for the guy's libido. So why am I saying that? I love to cook. I love food. No, not me. I'm just saying this. Not me now. Okay, let me just say someone loves food. Someone loves food and loves to cook. A woman loves food and loves to cook. And then she now marries a man who loves to eat. That's a beautiful thing. So you are not married yet. You don't even know if this is a problem, because it might not even be a problem. It might be your greatest blessing. Eventually, it might be your greatest blessing. So don't think or don't conclude on what is not yet because of I'm sorry about the fact that your parents and your family members shamed you. And what I spoke about is how it had been. A lot of people had, especially now we are getting better. We are speaking up now. A lot of people are speaking up. Someone like me, I am speaking up now. So people are getting to understand things better, that there are things you don't kill in a child. You find out, your teenager likes boys, talking to boys and all that. The next thing you want to shame the child and all that, and then you kill something in child that affects the child. We don't do parenting that way, So a lot of parents didn't know better in those days. A lot of family members didn't know better in those ways, and they did things the way, or they would shame the child or say, oh, look at you are, or maybe somehow a child is growing up and then they hear that she kissed a boy, or which some of those things, yes, that's not the best expression of it, but some of those things are coming from biology. We did biology, whereby a teenager, their hormones, they're getting what's the word now? They find puberty stuff. You find the opposite sex attractive. You want to be around them. Then your body is acting in a funny way. Then you are ovulating. You just feel like somebody. So yes, there are so many ways you can go about it, helping the child and helping the child navigate that process without shaming the child, without belittling the child, without so some people did the wrong thing then, and I'm sorry on behalf of your family. I'm sorry, but you need to get past it. Reason you need to get past it is because if you need to get past it, if you don't get past it, you won't be able to help your own children that are coming to get past it. Because who knows, you might have a child or who will grow up and would be in your shoes, and if you don't get past this, you might not be able to help your child. So, to start with, I just want you to know that having a high libido, there's nothing bad about it. It's not a sin. You did not commit. It's a sin if you're sleeping around, but you're not sleeping around. You've been able to contain it. You have a high libido. You do, and all that. And now, and if you feel that, it has maybe caused you to sleep with multiple people, I think you can talk to someone like an intimacy coach or your pastor who will be able to help you because God will not give you something that you would use to dishonor him in his word and dishonor his word. So you just need to be helped. They just need someone to help you to be able to put it under control, and that's fine when you can put it under control, and then you unleash it with your husband. God willing, you pray that God gives you a husband who also matches up to it, and then everything will be fine, and you'll find out that it's a blessing in its own. But now that you are now in the phase whereby it has affected you psychologically to the point that it's affecting you medically,
Right.
So you might want to get see, I don't know, maybe a doctor or something. You want to get help. You don't want to get married and be in this kind of situation whereby something that was supposed to be a blessing has now turned to a curse. So you want to get help. You want to talk to someone, an intimacy coach. You want to talk to a medical personnel. For example, if you come to someone like me, I don't know the medical, I'm just hearing this for the first time. So I would have to do a research on it, talk to one or two medical people that can give me counsel that I will give you, but I've not done that yet. So I don't know the exact medical route or medical counsel to give you, but please talk to someone that can give you medical counsel on how you can get help and how you can be whole again. And when you are whole, believe God for the best. Believe God that is like somebody saying, I have a child. I have 3 children. My first 2 children don't eat. They don't eat. They don't like eating. I have to beg them. I have to promise them. Growing, they are teenagers. They don't like eating. But my last son, he will finish. He will eat well. We are just different. So some people have low libido. Some people have these things are just appetite. It's just that it's sexual appetite. Some people like to eat. You can marry a husband. I married a husband who doesn't like to eat much. But I have friends whose husbands their husband, if you want to make them happy, just give them good food. They eat. You get what I'm trying to say? They eat. My own husband, if you say you want to pound yam for him, he thinks that, no, why are you doing that? Why? He always say that pounded yam, the stress is not commensurate to the taste, so he doesn't like it. And all. But there are some people, when you want to show that you really love and honor them, you pound yam for them, they feel really good and all that. So we are just different, and there's nothing wrong in being different. It's the beauty of life. Variety is really the beauty of life. So we are just different. So just see yourself as, there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely, as long as you can keep your body under till when you are married, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. So that in itself, if you meditate on that in itself, that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, that in itself can bring healing to you, because thinking about the shame and the fact that you thought something was really wrong with you is what brought you into this problem. So rethinking, having a renewal of mind, that there's really nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I'm whole. And there's nothing wrong with me can bring you into the place of wholeness. But also get somebody medical help and make sure that you're fine, and so that it doesn't pose a problem, so that you don't make your husband suffer for what he did not cause, the sin he did not commit. Yes. So you are whole, and you'll be shocked in Christ Jesus. You're a Christian in Christ Jesus. You'll be shocked that God will make everything so beautiful. You'll marry a husband who will match up with your energy, and you're going to have a fantastic, mind-blowing sexual experience.
Thank you. Thank you. That was beautifully said. Thank you. Before I ask the last question from the listener, I just want to say to the person who sent this question, I know you didn't have to share this. The fact that you did anonymously and honestly tells me that you've been carrying this alone for a long time and you're tired of carrying it. We see you. This space is for you. And what happened to you was not your fault. And like Pastor Topper said, having a high libido is not sinful. It's, it's not a sin. I imagine the burden, especially coming from the neck of the woods that we came were born into, right? And I'm so sorry that you also didn't have that support in your family. That shame did what shame always does. It went somewhere, it settled in your body and taught it that desire was dangerous. It's not dangerous. And what you're going through is real, right? But it's also treatable. It's not a life sentence. It's not a failure. It's your nervous system doing what it was taught, what it learned to do to keep you safe. And you can also learn, you can also help it, learn something different. So, I'll complement what Pastor Topper said. Please find a pelvic floor physiotherapist if you have access to one, or find a therapist who understands both the physical and the psychological dimension of this. And women recover from this every day. Women who were told the same things you were told, who carry the same shame you're carrying, they still go ahead and live full and intimate lives, right? And you're a woman whose body is still protecting her from a wound that deserves to be healed. We're rooting for you. You're not damaged. You're not broken. You're not fat to gone. You got this, okay? Thank you for sharing your question. And for the last question, this is from Mary from East Africa. So her question was about, let me see. Okay, yeah, she said, okay, so, and I think her question represents what women across the globe are quietly carrying. She wants to know where the born again single men are, particularly women that are 35 and older. Some who might have children, some who are still navigating life after divorce or separation. She's asking about long distance relationships across continents. Whether is it still okay to get married without a legal certificate, especially, in our traditional setting where there's a dowry and ceremony. And she also wants to know whether age matters when the woman is older than the man, right? Anyways, these questions are coming from East Africa, but I can guarantee you that women in the UK, US, Nigeria, or even Korea are nodding right now, so where do you want to start? Where are the men? Is marriage still an in thing? And is it okay to marry someone that is significantly older than you as a female?
Okay, someone who is older than you. And let me start from there. There's absolutely nothing wrong. I'm going to explain it. Please, I don't want you to run away with anything I'm going to say.
Okay, we'll let you land. Yeah, okay.
Yes, okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you marrying someone you're older than. But the but there is that as long there's a caveat to it, as long as you know that you can submit to the person, and as long as you know that the person's maturity level is higher than yours as a woman. If you are sure that the person's maturity level is higher than yours as a woman, the funny thing, women actually, not just age now, women actually grow faster than men. And that's the truth.
Yeah. Maturity wise, emotional.
Yes, maturity wise and all that. You see, and there are so many things that contribute to it, so many things that I don't even want to start talking about, but there are actually contributing factors that, they are actually contributing factors. So if you see a 30-year-old woman and a 30-year-old man, in most cases, not all cases, because that's why I said there are factors responsible for it. So those factors, if you tweak it, if you change it, it can work for the guy too. So there are some guys that are actually very responsible, very, very responsible. But in most cases, you see a 30-year-old woman, you see a 30-year-old man, that 30-year-old woman is more matured than the 30-year-old man. And somehow this thing is so funny, even in biology. At some point you see age mates, the girl just shoots up, and then the guy is catching up gradually, and then in adolescence, grows taller and all that. Yeah. So, but if you find a guy but there are some guys, like I said, there are things that contribute to it. There's training. There's a way you can train a male child. In most houses, because we see it almost everywhere, because you see that the woman has to do a lot, especially in keeping the home and all that. You want to train your female daughters to do that. So you are shocked. Like in Nigeria, for example, you have a daughter who is 15. At 15, she can handle the kitchen. She can manage the home. But you have a son who is 15. At 15, he's still asking for food, asking for everything and all that. So somehow you develop your female daughter to be more responsible and more matured, except in cases where maybe by responsibility or by the demand of responsibility or some other sort, the male child was forced to develop, because there are times like that in training and all that. My male child, like my husband, for example, when I met my husband was way older than his age. He's still older than me, though. And reason is, for example, there's no way it won't be like that. My husband was a boarding house. Age 7, he had 2 younger ones in the primary school. So he said at age 7, he will wake up very early in a day before. He will go and take their clothes. His younger ones, they all went to boarding primary school. He will go and take their clothes, wash it, spread it, iron it at age 7. Iron it, then very early in the morning, have to wake up and go and deliver their clothes in their hostels. Tell me how that kind of person will not grow up very responsible and matured. So life made that happen to him, but so there are some cases like that. So if you find a guy like that who you might be older than, but is very responsible, very matured, yes. Why not? Why not? You will find out that age, that's when you will see that age is really nothing but a number, because you will see that this guy has plenty sense and all that. So if you find somebody that, you can submit to, and when I say you can submit to, the truth of the matter about submission is that submission is actually commanded. So somebody that can command your submission is not something you just give, it's commanded. You really find someone that really can command your submission. So that still boils down to him being matured and responsible. So if you find someone that can command your submission, someone you can submit to, why not? Age is really nothing but a number. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. I mean, this was great. Whatever you desire is your preference, right? As long as like you said earlier on, if you're a female submitting to your husband as Christians, are you able to do that? So again, knowing yourself and your strengths. Yeah. I guess my last question.
Sorry, please.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I want to say something about that. I think the person also asked the question about where those kind of guys are.
Where can we find them? Yeah, thank you for
where can we find them? Yeah. So I want to say that you can find them. You really can find them. So where can you find them? You can find them in the quiver of God. You can find them with God. And I really want to say that because it's so important. It's so important. God always has a remnant. No matter how terrible it looks as if people they are good guys with God. The Bible says unequivocally, the Bible says that a faithful man who can find. And the Bible also says that a virtuous woman who can find. The Bible says those two. So for you to find a virtuous woman, God can find. It was asking that like a rhetorical question, because human beings cannot find them. The Bible says that scripture says every man will proclaim his own faithfulness. Every man will proclaim his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find. Every man will proclaim, every man will be a good person, but God, who sees the hearts of men, can pick out a good man, and a virtuous woman. Who can find a virtuous woman? God also can find a virtuous woman. I found out in my years of pastoring, it's so funny. The way they say, there's so much decadence in the society and all that. I think it would be safe for me to say that I have married more virgins, women, than unvirgin people. I've married a lot of people. I've been pastoring for years. I've married a lot. I've had a lot of people, I've lost number, I've lost count of people that, because I said I used to take marriage counseling, so after sex class, I used to tell them that sex class, I used to have another class after your sex, after your marriage. And when I call them, I say, how far? How did you go? Because I like to, and I always have to start another, let's do it this way, because they've never had sex before. So I'm just trying to say that. And this is a society whereby, it looks like some people's reality is like there's no virgin again. So God still has remnants. So if you're looking for a good man, pray about it, ask God for it. The Holy Spirit will direct you. The Holy Spirit will lead you to a good man. Ask for it. Ask God, and God will lead you to a good man. So there's still good men out there. Yeah.
Okay, very encouraging. So sis, don't give up, okay? This last question from me, I believe that we probably need a whole session on it because it's really very foundational, and if we're able to fix it, it would really, really shape how we have conversations and even shape the adults that will become the future people that will be having sex, in the sense of, so we spent a lot of this conversation talking about what happens when the adults in the room didn't get it right? The shame, the silence, and all of that gets carried into marriage. And I keep thinking about the anonymous listener, about how different her story might have been if someone had gotten there first before the shame did. So let me ask you, as parents, and I'm talking to parents everywhere, how do we talk to our children about sex in a way that actually prepares them rather than scars them, right? How do we see that narrative before culture does, even the internet at this day and age?
Yeah, so beautiful. First off, before I answer that question, let me say this. Please, I need you to understand that the children we are having now, the generation is different. The way they raised you in your time, is different. And that same, the way the formula, what will I call it now? The way they raise you cannot work in this generation. Reason is, this generation is so blessed. One of the things we have in this generation is that we have a lot of knowledge. We have a lot of knowledge everywhere. We have access to knowledge. Your children have access to knowledge. And sometimes this knowledge don't ask for their age. So they have a license to uncensored, unscreened information. All this, I'm not talking to my child. You are deceiving yourself. My parents
somebody has talked to them.
Somebody has told them, the earlier the better. And it's going to be very good if you can be the first person to talk to them. Reason is so that they can judge everything they are hearing outside from what you have told them. They are sieving it from the sieve of what you have told them. But if they've heard from outside, they will be judging whatever you are saying from what they had outside. So it's better and this is the time, this is the generation to befriend your children. This is not the generation to be lion and lionesses and say, oh, no, it cannot work. What they did with us in that time and all the, I wanted to say nonsense, but it's not nonsense. They did their best and all that. But all the stuff that they did, they'll tell you when you get pregnant, then if somebody should touch you, you get pregnant. These children are so smart. All those things cannot work for them. If a boy touch you like this, you will get pregnant. All those things. They know the biology. They know everything. They know everything. They know everything. My child, when it was my last son, I will never forget. That actually jolted me to reality and made me understand. When he was younger, I think he was 4 then. He asked me, he said, "Mommy, how was I born?" I said, "You came out from my I think it was 4 then. I said, "You came out from my tummy." And then he said, How did I come out from? Did they cut your tummy? And my births, I've had 3 births, and the 3 of them were vaginal delivery. I've not had a CS. So, and I don't want to lie. So he said, "Did they cut my?" I said, "You just came out somehow from my tummy." So the somehow that I said, was not clear to him. In my presence, my son picked up my phone and pressed Siri on my phone and said, "Siri, how does it?"
Oh no. Oh no, I forgot about Siri.
Yes, that you was 4 then, that I'm deceiving myself. And Siri did not pick whether it's a child's voice or it's an adult's voice. Siri would tell you what
everything.
That is it.
Oh, no, for Siri.
Siri. There is Siri. There is Chat GPT. They have access.
AI now. Yeah.
There is AI. There is everything. There is Alexa. We have Alexa in my house. My children, we ask Alexa anything, and Alexa will answer. And Alexa won't say, oh, how old are you? Asking, won't screen the information as their children. So I'm saying that to let you know that your children have access to unfiltered, unscreened, uncensored information. So more than ever, we didn't have access to that much when we were growing up. So more than ever, you better know that you cannot lie to your children. And don't let them think that you're not going to be telling them the truth. Because they will take whatever you say with a pinch of salt. If they notice that you are telling them lies, so they will take whatever, they won't even take it seriously. So you have to, more than ever in this time, you have to befriend your children. You must befriend your children. You have to be a friend to your children and talk to them, gist with them. And don't be overbearing. It's not every gist I hear. You see, run away from boys, something. Be a virgin. Keep yourself. Just don't be overbearing. They'll start running away from you. But so what I do is I try to have conversations with when my daughter was 9 years old some years back, when she was 9 years old, I think, or 8, I can't remember. She came back from school that day. I just broke my fast. I was breaking my fast, eating. And in front of everybody, she just asked me, Mommy, what is sex? I will never forget. Yes, she was 8. And there were people in the room. I was in her room. Because she just came back from school, and there were other people in her room. And she asked me, she blotted it out, and I said, Davida, where did you hear that from? She said, oh, my friend in school. And she mentioned the girl's name. We were talking about it today. She told me about sex, and she went on and on. She told me that Mommy and her daddy always have sex. She always sees them. They did this, they did that. And she went on and on and on. And I was like, oh my God. And then it occurred to me that it was even late. I should have called her earlier. So I always say that when your child is like 3, when they start knowing things, start talking to them about body parts. That's a safe time to talk to them about private parts. Don't let anybody touch. This one is not even boys or girls. Nobody should touch this. Nobody should touch that. Talk to them about body parts. When your child is like 6, more conscious, 6, 7, talk to them about sex. Sex. When your child is like 9, 10, upgrade that teaching on sex. Just talk to them. But then from there, chip it into conversations. Have relaxed conversations with it. So one of the things, the other day, my kids and I were watching The Good Doctor. Yeah, Good Doctor.
The series,
the series. And we watched it. I was watching it with my kids. And one thing about the series is I had a lot of time to do spontaneous teaching. So I was like, oh, Davida, what do you think? So there's somebody, there is a character. They also say, I love Claire. She's something, she's this, but she's sleeping with somebody. I said, well, but the downside about this thing is that this guy is not, I just teach and all that, because sex, as beautiful as it is, is a way of expressing love and all that. But then it's only marriage that has what it takes to contain sex. So why marriage? We're having conversation. I'm not even unscripted. I'm not even. It's not something planned, but I'm just talking. Because, and then I give her real life scenarios. You see a lot of people, they have sex. There's something about guys. I don't even have to bring my Bible in it. I just talk generally that guys love to hunt and all that. When a guy when you give a guy your body without commitment, and the commitment that can contain that is marriage, and this we talk. So we just we just talk. They are just spontaneous teaching moments. So we are watching a movie, we are seeing something, because it's in every movie now. It's in every, there's something. If you really watch stuffs with your children, you read books with your children, there's something to teach. So then I get on it, and when I see the opportunity to teach, I just it's more like we are discussing, but I just talk about it. And then I found out that my daughter started, because she used to be so into her daddy before, but now she started relaxing with me. We started talking more, and then sometimes she just comes with questions. I remember something happened, and I'm going to say it here for you to know how much these kids know. My daughter she's going to be 14 in some months time, and the one I'm talking about, my daughter I'm talking about, and we were something happened. My I was with one of the ladies in the house, and who is very close to me, and I think somebody gave me a fruit basket or something, and she brought out a cucumber, and I was looking at the cucumber, and I was like, so I looked at the lady who is close to me, and I was laughing at the shape of the cucumber, and I started laughing, and then I found out my daughter was even laughing louder than I was laughing, and I was like, oh, what's funny? I said, oh, mommy, I know what's funny, and I for a minute I was lost. I was like, okay, what's funny? I don't think we are laughing at the same thing. And she was like, oh, we never really spoke about it, but then she just said, oh, mommy, now I know what you are trying to show Auntie Moya. I know what it means now. They talk about this thing in my school, cucumbers, what else did she say? Sausages. And then she said, so my mind just went boom, 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 boom. I said, oh, I think I know. We never even said, I know more. And then the next thing she said gave her away. She said, but mommy, you've taught me now. I know the right thing. But they talk about these things in my school. We know what it means. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, she even knows, because those are things that, so she knows, stuff beyond. So we just spoke about it. She said, but I know the right thing, mommy, but they since when I was since SS1, since everybody they talk about these things, and they say stuff, they say things they use it for. Oh, we just started talking about it. So what did they use it? I said, mommy, now. I didn't want to be too pushy. I just said, anyways, we have to do the right thing, and there are a lot of people that are exposed. And remember what we spoke about, and we just talked about it. But they know. So the other day, there was a day we were doing night prayer, and then I wanted to talk to them, and I just spoke to them about. I wanted to. Do you know that? Have you heard about gay and stuff like that and all that? Oh, they said, oh, they started telling me everything about it. So I took them into scriptures. I'm a Christian, so what does the Bible have to say about it? So I took them into scriptures. We went into, I told them this thing is not new. So we went to Sodom and Gomorrah, we went to the book of Romans 1, and then we saw it. I was like, oh, wow. So this thing has been since Bible days. And then we started gisting, oh, see what God did, just fun. So you, more than ever, not take too much time, more than ever, you have to be close to your children. You can't do that Margaret Thatcher kind of motherhood or mothering. You can't do that kind. I'm not going to be talking to them or to blow something out of proportion. They won't tell you anything again. And the things they will do at the back end, they would, that double standard life, there will be something else for you, and there will be something else. And you don't want to raise children with double standards, with double life. So you want to talk to them. And also, if they make mistakes, please don't blow it out of proportion. Don't do that. Don't blow it out of proportion. Don't damage your child because your child has made a mistake. Don't make your child a mistake because your child has made a mistake. No. Come together and say, how do we work around this? How do we fix this? Be willing to fix, because a child can make a mistake doesn't mean that's the end of the child's life. Doesn't mean the child is a mistake. Doesn't mean it's irrecoverable and all. So make sure that you are there. Be there for your child. Teach. Yes, teach. Always have teaching times and all that. Oh, correct. Oh, can you see this? What I've been telling you? But now you can see yourself. Okay, how do we get past this and all that? Let your child be able to talk to you and help them. Before you know it, with God's help, with your help, your child will turn out well. But you have to be a present. And when I say present, I don't mean present like physically present. Not just that. You might not have quantity because you have to work and do stuff. I'm always traveling, for example. I might not have quantity time to give my children, but I have quality time. If I'm going to spend 2 hours with them, I'm going to spend 2 hours. We're going to gist. We're going to talk. We're going to probably see a movie. We're going to address issues. They're going to tell me stuff. So we are going to talk about it. And also my husband is also very involved. There's something my husband does, which I also want to talk about because it's highly commendable. I like it. I like the effect on my children. It takes my children on dates. They have personal dates. So it will say, oh, today is Davida's date. I have 3, Davida and Miela, So today is Davida's date. Both of them go out. They go out, it takes them out. Wherever they go out and they talk. And they talk. I mean, some of the things he tells me, he'll tell me, don't tell them what I told you. The things they tell him things since when they were young. Since when I remember when Amiela was 9 or so, he took her out on one of those dates and she told him about her crush. And that's when she told him about, Daddy, I like this guy, he's my crush. 9. And they talk, and he would listen. And they was, okay, you know what? What do we do with our crush? It's okay to have a crush, but what do you do with your crush? That was when that came up in my house. You crush your crush and all that. And they spoke. Even at that level, at that age, you said, you know what? When you're in part 2, you're going to have a boyfriend, and I will choose him for you. Do you trust Daddy's choice? And then she came home and said, Daddy's going to give me a boyfriend when I'm in part 2. I said, oh, come on, let's go. That's fine. And so it does that too. It takes them out. They talk. But make sure you befriend your children. There are several predators out there who would befriend them just to take advantage of them. You don't want them to fall prey to those people. So make sure you are the first person to befriend your children so that you can talk to them. They can talk to you. They can ask you any question. They can be vulnerable with you. They can let you know when they've made mistakes, so that those mistakes don't become too costly before you can do something about them. So befriend your children, talk to them, have teaching moments with them, and just befriend them. That's it.
All right. This was beautiful. Wow. Thank you so much, Pastor Temi. And
yeah,
it's we've covered so many grounds today, and I want to just say thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
We started this conversation by walking into the room, talking about shame, judgment, and just the role it plays, especially in kids. We also talked about the 3 trouble spots. I remember sex, money, and in-laws, and what happens when intimacy fades. We talked about resentment, desire, the calls, right? We held space for also what God actually says about sex, and you took us back to the book of 1 Corinthians 7, and also held space for 2 women who trusted us with their questions, and just want to thank you for your book, for your honesty, for saying out loud what the church has been whispering about for far too long. And where can we find your book, Pastor Temi?
Yeah, so you can pre-order. We are reprinting now because the first one just sold like so fast, and I heard just that is even the same what's the most. So you can pre-order. Okay. You can pre-order. You can go to my email. You can send an email to tiptoe@yahoo.com. Send an email to tiptoe@yahoo.com to join the waiting list. So just send an email to tiptoe@yahoo.com to join the waiting list. So we'll get it across to you in no time.
Perfect. And we will put this in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time, and to everyone listening, if this episode found you at the right time, please send somebody who needs it. No explanations necessary, just send the link, and we'll see you next time. Welcome to season 9 of the Monsible podcast, and thank you so much, Pastor Temi. Hope to bring you back in the nearest future. Yeah, and enjoy your rest of your day. Bye-bye, ma.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. you.